Right, so this is the new document that came out today, and it's funny. It is funny. So I'll just open them up like this. There we go, so I can zoom in a little bit. State of Minnesota in the Court of Appeals, and it's the Office of the Appellate Court's Special Term Order. Considered and signed by Siegel, Chief Judge, Wheelock, Judge, and Bentley, Judge, based on the file record and proceedings, and for the following reasons. Petitioner Nicholas Robert Rekieta is charged with second-degree controlled substance crime, unlawful possession of a firearm, and child endangerment. Now, Nick goes on to say that he's not, in fact, charged with child endangerment, but it seems that the appellate court believes that he is. Although he does clarify that the child endangerment charge came out before his children were tested positive for coke. I'm not sure that makes it better, but it is what it is. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on as well. I guess when we get to the Spectre file stuff. But those are the three charges as it stands for this criminal case. Based on evidence seized after a search warrant was executed at his residence, he moved to suppress the evidence and dismiss the charges, which was denied and denied. And he requested an evidentiary hearing under Franks versus Delaware. He was denied. Those are the first three denieds. And that was to investigate whether the search warrant application contained material misrepresentations regarding the social media video. That's the Cog's Life video. Me Cog video. I uploaded it in me shack. Among other things. The district court denied. Oof, that's a word you're going to get a lot of use out of. They bought denieds by the bulk in this case. The district court denied petitioner's motion for a Franks hearing and his motion to suppress evidence and dismiss charges. Petitioner seeks discretionary review of the court's order, denying his motions for a Franks evidentiary hearing. So what this means, basically what happened is Nick wanted to get the search warrant thrown out. If he can get the search warrant thrown out, it's all gone. It's just a win. It's a massive Hail Mary. It was never going to happen, but he did apply for the Franks hearing. The Franks hearing would say that, like, well, the cop was disingenuous when they applied for the warrant, therefore it's all fruit of the fallen tree, yada yada, get rid of it. No one thought he was going to get a Franks motion except for Barnes. Better call Barnes, the Swedish mercenary lawyer, who is apparently going through some health things at the moment, but I do hope he gets better, because even though I do make fun of him, I don't want to see him go through any pain or anything. So get well soon, Barnes. It's much more fun to make jokes than to see you suffer. Unironically, I do wish you just to get better. But it was denied. So what happened is he wasn't happy with getting denied, so he's like, you know what? Since I'm paying for a lawyer and my entire life rides on this, why don't I just make everything worse by submitting more frivolous motions? And when he got his Franks motions dismissed at the last hearing, he actually the judge seemed upset, in my opinion. They said that it was denied, and also anything he hadn't brought previously, he can no longer bring as well. So he has to wait until his actual, I guess it's going to be the trial date hearing, which is coming up next. But what he wanted, he started to apply for now what was it called? If someone in the chat could remind me, but I believe it was called a discretionary review hearing. Now, the discretionary review hearing is very unusual, because typically if you want to appeal something, you wait until the end of a trial. You lose the trial, and then you appeal, even though appeals are for losers. You appeal and try and get another run, or you try to prove that it was unfair. It's very, very unusual to try and apply for a discretionary appeal before the court has concluded their original hearings, the original everything, right? So it's out of term. It's not out of term. It's out of order. And the court doesn't like that. Now, these are very, very rarely granted, and it's typically for things that either a case where a appeal wouldn't come in time, there's some sort of emergency factor. There are a couple reasons to do this, but not because you're upset is not one of them, and because your butt hurt is not one of them. So unfortunately, it wasn't to anyone's shock that this was denied. Petitioner argues the court should grant discretionary review in the interest of justice because the Franks issue is important and doubtful, and the resolution of the issue would obviate the need for further proceedings. The state has not filed a response. That's an oof.
Oh!
That's a big fucking oof.
Oh!
Right, I just read this one. This is a big fucking oof.
Oh!
The state has not filed a response. that means his arguments were so weak, so poor, and so ridiculous, the state didn't even say, nah. They just refused to even comment on his ridiculousness. He paid for all these things he's paying for. Money that could be going towards something else, like paying off Montegraph, for example. The state didn't even bother to respond. They left him on red on the most important trial of his entire career, his own. Holy shit. Getting left on red by the court. That's embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Embarrassing!
As a lawyer once would say. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Left on red. He needs to fire his current lawyer because they are not working in his favor. They are squeezing him for every penny that he has. And his current lawyer is actually a fan of his in Barnes, and he met his lawyer through his locals chat. So it's kind of give you an idea of the caliber of the lawyer that we're talking about here. But wasting the time of the court and wasting Nick's money. I guess he's got money to waste though, right? Well, maybe not, according to Camelot, actually. That's a new factor. Should we intersperse this with one of these Camelot clips? Let's see. This is from Nova's channel. Let's see what Camelot has to say. 30-second clip. Let's have a look.
Well, they look nice.
He's calling in from the intercom, by the way. Camelot's streaming at the bottom of the battleship, and we're at the top of the battleship. And this is the, you've got the whistle, like it like plays on like the old Star Trek series or whatever. That plays, and then you hear Camelot's voice. So just consider that. Get a better internet or a better screen recorder, Nova.
Well, they look nice. LOL. Nick's own videos plus his pastor turned him in. Look at the warrant. Yeah, I already know about this. If he truly has family money, he should get off the internet and stop living others. Okay. I don't.
That was a long pause to think about things. It's like, ooh, should I tell this? Should I tell this? Yeah, I'll just say it. We may as well get some clout. His friends crashing and burning may as well cash in the last of their friendship for a little bit extra clout, right?
I don't think his money situation is that good. Here's one of the. That's one thing.
Oof. His money situation is not that good.
But yeah, you're right. You're right about the first part.
Why would you say like?
Think his
isn't Camelot his friend? Why are you saying this? I know Nick said that he would be happy with his friends grifting off of him, but that's not true. That's like saying, yeah, you guys can make fun of me for profit. I don't give a shit. And then does he actually believe that? Because this absolutely makes Nick seethe when he gives out these details. Like, why would you say this about your friend? Like, the entire internet is watching to see if you mess up, and you just expose him as a brokey. He's got no fucking money. He can't live tax free anymore because he can't even pay his rent, or he's going to be living in rent free government housing, either the prison or Section 8. So that was I don't know. It's very weird for me to see him drop these these things about. I'm not sure. Is he actually like a stealth snake or something? I mean, he does. He's like the naked snake, right? So it's the stealth snake. Do the Camelot impression. I need to practice it. What is it like? How does he talk again? Like, do the mustache thing. Nick Rekieta, my boy, he's broke. He's broke. Nick Rekieta Law, my boy, is broke. I don't know. That's the best I can do. I'm not very good at it, but I hope you enjoyed it all the same. So where were we? Here we are. A couple of people said, lol, you may as well like the stream for that. Where's the trust fund? So the trust fund is kind of a mysterious thing. We don't really know what the actual details involve in it, but I've had it suggested to me from a source that I believe would be reasonable. And it seems to imply that his trust fund is based off of how many kids he has. And so let's say like $1,000 a month per kid. That's just a number I've made up. I don't have any facts on this. I think that money basically goes directly to just financing his kids, essentially. And I have some other theories about other ways he can spend the money. But I think it's basically enough to live, but not quite enough to have like a lavish Hollywood lifestyle. And it's probably intentional. Because, if you've got a lot of money and you don't want to fuck up your kids, you don't want to give them unlimited money. It just turns them into like Chris Chan, basically. Criminal defendants generally do not have a right to appeal until final judgment has been entered. But this court may allow an appeal from an order not otherwise appealable in the interest of justice. So that's what they mean when it's called a discretionary hearing, is that it's at the judge's discretion. Nick has no cachet. He has no trust built up with this judge, and couldn't be further from the truth, actually. It's quite the opposite. So the chance of him getting the good graces of the judge is kind of ridiculous. But I guess it's his money to burn, so whatever. But they decided no. In the let's see. Minnesota Rules of Civil Appellate Procedure 105 govern the procedure for appeal. In determining whether to grant discretionary review, the court considers multiple factors, including whether the ruling is questionable or involves an unsettled area of law, the importance of the legal issue presented, and whether the legal issue would evade review if the appeal is deferred until the underlying case has been decided. And then there's Gordon versus Microsoft Corp. Generally, discretionary review is only extended to important legal questions that have broad applicability. So you being butthurt that people are going to laugh at you on the internet is not an important legal question. It's just suffer. It's just suffer. You made fun of all the people. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, Russell Greer, Monica Rial, Ron Toye, Duncan MacLeod, everyone that sent in your... I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been able to make fun of these people. I'm not saying that Russell Greer didn't deserve to be made fun of for his Mobius syndrome because he's harassing Taylor Swift. But if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Fun to be the hammer, not so much fun to be the nail. So, sorry, it's just suffer.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
You got to deal with it. If you want to have your nice, cushy internet shock jock gig, you have to accept the good with the bad. And unfortunately, you don't just get to be an internet hate sniper from your ivory tower. Eventually, the internet looks back at you. And hopefully when they do, you don't have any skeletons in the closet. Unfortunately, he not only had skeletons in the closet, he had them in Jamaica in hedonism too, as well as in his closet. And as well as in his drugged little safe, as well as in his wife with Aaron, Phil of Aaron. There's just too much. And as well as in his second house. There's just too many skeletons that he had to even get a second house just to store them all. Holy shit. The petitioner may also show a compelling reason for this court to grant discretionary review of a non-appealable order. Petitioner does not explain why the court... Oh my gosh. Petitioner does not explain why the district court's pre-trial ruling denying his motion to suppress his evidence for a Franks hearing requires this court's immediate review. So not only was his arguments terrible, he didn't even bother to write a new argument. He just resubmitted. He resubmitted his already declined Franks motion argument. He's like, well, you know what? I'm going to go to your boss. Maybe your boss will be interested in seeing this. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. So it does not require this court's immediate review. C, Minnesota Civ appellate case requiring a statement why an immediate appeal is necessary or desirable. So he didn't even write a cover letter. If you want to get a job at McDonald's, you write a cover letter of why you think you're going to be good for McDonald's. And the answer can't be because I want to have fucking money to pay my fucking electricity bills. It has to be like, well, I think that I'm going to be really good on the fryer later. He didn't even bother to say it. Oh my goodness. Moreover, this court generally does not grant petitions for discretionary review of pretrial rulings because the defendant may utilize the procedure in Minnesota criminal case, blah, 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 which permits expedited review of a pretrial ruling that is dispositive or would make a contested trial unnecessary. Stating defendants seeking discretionary review must show why he should not be required to proceed by stipulating to the facts and waiving a jury trial to obtain review and pretrial ruling. Although review would be somewhat delayed by requiring petitioner to appeal from any final judgment, the pretrial ruling will not evade review. And a defendant's interest in avoiding the time and expense of the trial does not by itself establish a compelling reason to extend pretrial discretionary review. So he's just trying to get a freebie, basically. Just trying to get a freebie. Doesn't want to pay for it. Doesn't want to waste the time. He's so busy. He's too busy. But the court says, no, you got to go back and stand in line, sir. I'm sorry, being a trust fund baby doesn't entitle you to just skip the line when other people have to go through this process. Petitioner has not otherwise shown a compelling reason for this court to extend discretionary appellate jurisdictions when the pretrial issues are fully reviewable in an appeal from any final judgment. And it is hereby ordered, the best page, it is hereby ordered the petition for discretionary review is, say it in chat with me, denied. It's denied. Signed, Susan L. Siegel. It's the legal Siegel. Check DMs? All right, why not?